During the last 7 years of my journey, going from completely broke to a man that gets to live his life on his own terms, I've really come to notice something. The secret to success is not really a secret, as in there's no recipe for it. But from the ancient times back to the Renaissance, to the days we live in today, the individuals who achieved success during all these different eras had one thing in common: access. Access to the right people, access to the best opportunities, and access to the best knowledge. If there is such a thing as a secret to success, that would be it. Now, what I've also noticed throughout my journey is that this access has been carefully kept to an exclusive few until today. And at the end of the day, you're here for one reason. We all are, because the conventional path has failed us. And one of the biggest epiphany moments in the life of a man happens when they come to this realization. But their lives only take a turn, only really change for the better when they decide to act on this realization. When they decide to take a leap of faith and embrace the unconventional path. And today, I want to help you take this leap of faith by giving you access. Today, the word access gets an entirely new meaning. Today, the word education is set to a new standard. And today, the boundaries of what's possible in your life are pushed forward. This, my friend, is a revolution. This is education. The best knowledge, the best opportunities, and the right people. Monumental changes don't start with monumental efforts. They start with small decisions. So I'm very happy to announce the creation of Educate, a revolutionary platform for online education. And from a very young age, I knew my purpose was to reform the education system by providing the world with an education platform that delivers 10 times the impact on a student's income for 1/100th the price of a regular college education. And Educate is the embodiment of that purpose into reality. And as you've seen in the trailer, Educate is going to be based on 3 pillars: the right knowledge, the right people, and the best opportunities. As I've said before, in this age of information overload, having the right knowledge broken down into an easy step-by-step manner, paired with the right people to guide you in the right direction, is the key to success. The future of education lies not in the broad sweeping curriculums of the past, but in the focused application-oriented learning. And that's why we've worked to provide you with a level of knowledge that has never been seen before in any online education platform. You see, each program inside of Educate is taught by a different professor who are all in the top 0.1% of their industries. You are going to be learning from the greatest among the greats. And I'm just one of the names inside of the platform. You see, Educate is way bigger than Iman Gadzhi. Now, at first, you're gonna have 3 people as your professors. First, you're gonna have the man himself as a professor, Paul Daly. And he's gonna be your host on the 6-figure sales rep program. Now, as I've told you earlier this week, Paul started working with me a few years ago, and earlier this year, I actually appointed him as the CEO of my e-learning company. Paul has personally sold millions of dollars through his own art of selling, and also has overseen $50 million as a sales manager. But that's really not what I want you to pay attention to. What I want you to pay attention to is the hundreds of remote sales reps that Paul has trained and continues to train from the ground up through his career, all of which who have went on to achieve financial freedom, and multiple even went on to make millions of dollars in sales of their own. Paul has mastered the art of sales, but above that, he's mastered the art of teaching average people the skill of selling. I mean, he's taken people from all walks of life, from people who've already worked with sales before to people who have never sold a single product online in their entire lives, who were serving tables and working as cashiers, and turned them into 6-figure sales reps. And this is what he's gonna do with you on his Educate program, 6-figure sales rep.
I have trained thousands of sales reps. Over the last decade, I have seen it all. Everything from selling sunglasses to selling cars, selling multi-$100 million government contracts to selling SaaS, selling marketing agencies to info products, selling real estate, you name it. I've seen it, I've done it, and over working with those thousands of reps, I've started to recognize some patterns. Who burns out? Who excels? Who's naturally dispositioned to be good at sales and who's not? Most reps, when they come across objections, they get into battle mode, put up the gloves, start boxing, and it increases sales resistance. It makes it super difficult for them to actually get the close. And the best way to combat that is to do exactly the opposite of what they expect. Most people, though, never use silence to their advantage because they just think about that awkward first date. I'll be honest, when I made this entire curriculum, I went through, and I was thorough, I went through pretty much every single part of during, and even post-sales that I could think of. The problem, though, is every single sales conversation is unique. In chess, you have somewhere around 10 to the 120th power variations of what the board can look like. It's a lot of unique cases. And in sales, it's the same. See, what really helps reps become better reps is understanding the principle, understanding the frame and the goals, the why, the what, the how. That's what I want to focus on in these lessons. Warren Buffett said it best. It's not about how hard or fast you can row, but the boat that you're in. And this line says everything about your success in sales. Thus, no more lying. And no more lying to sell. Old sales reps meet asteroid. And begins a new era of sales, a new way of selling. Welcome to
Second, you're going to have Luis as a professor, and he'll be your host on Pen to Profit, the program that will teach you how to make money with words. Again, as I've told you earlier this week, Luis was one of my first ever employees. He joined my company when there was only 5 people around, and today we have over 150 employees between all of my companies. And one of the main reasons that skyrocketed this growth was the texts, the VSLs, and the emails that Luis has written. I mean, just one single well-written promotion has the potential of changing the direction for an entire company. All it takes is one good text. And I can tell you that I've experienced that effect myself with a single video that was scripted almost 2 years ago at this point, and to this day still brings me over $1 million every single month tracked. A single video. And you know who wrote every single word in that video? You guessed it, Luis. Luis first started working here as an intern and worked his way up to the highest levels of a company hierarchy, C-level. Now, if you don't know, those are company executives such as the CEO, CMO, and CFO. And today, Luis is my CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer, all because he can write words that make people take action. And whether you too want to develop a skill that allows you to work your way up to the top executive positions for a company, work with $1 million clients, or maybe even just apply these principles inside of your own business. Pen to Profit is the program that will teach you how to do that. Inside of it, you will learn how even people who are not good with words or simply weren't born with the skill of writing can still make millions of dollars with it, because all you have to do is simply follow the proven copy structure that Luis will provide you with, and you fill in the blanks with the details of your specific audience and business.
The number one thing that the average adult spends the most time of his day doing today is writing. Writing texts, writing messages, writing emails. We spend on average 143 minutes a day writing. That's more than 2 hours of your day you spend just writing. And you could be getting paid for every single word that you write. My job as a copywriter is to write words that make people take action. And to be honest, it's easier than you would expect. Everybody seeks to be understood. And when you can understand your prospects so well to the point where you can explain their problems better than they can explain it themselves, they start creating their own stories inside of their heads as to why they should buy what you sell. When you do this, the sale becomes the next natural step. Inside of Pen to Profit, I'll give you the same frameworks and structures that I have developed while writing the copy for some of the biggest campaigns on the internet. You learn everything you need to know to go from never having sold a product online before to being able to write a copy that generates millions and millions in sales. The fact is, you don't need to be good at writing in order to make millions online. Just think back about every single decision you have taken that everyone around you was telling that was a wrong decision or not the right decision to take. but internally, you were convinced that you were right. And it didn't matter how persuasive or how logical people tried to be, you had changed your mind and they couldn't change it. Why does that happen? Well, the reason why that happens is because we as humans, we don't take decisions logically. We take decisions emotionally. We all create these stories inside of our heads about the situations, and those stories lead us to decisions. We make up our minds not based on logic or factual arguments, but based on the stories that we create inside of our heads. That means that if you want someone to buy from you, you don't need to convince them. All you need to do is plant the seeds for the right stories to be created inside of their minds, and those stories will do all the selling for you. You gotta ask yourself, what's the number one thing your prospect needs to believe before you present your offer in order for them to buy? When you can answer this question in your copy, the money just follows. When you structure your offer this way, when it comes time to sell, instead of people going, oh, here it comes, now he's gonna try to sell me something, they will go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed. And this is how you get thousands of people begging to buy from you and being very, very grateful when you give them the opportunity to do so. I am Luis Berger, and this is Pen to Profit.
And finally, you'll have me, Iman Gadzhi, teaching you how to start your own ROI agency from scratch and scale it to $10,000 a month inside the program called Agency Navigator. And this is the step-by-step in-depth program on how to succeed with our Path 1. And this program has helped more than 20,000 students to date start their own agencies from zero. And Agency Navigator is composed of 3 phases. The first one is the fundamentals phase. And here you basically learn how to set everything up for your agency. That is, how to choose a service to offer, how to choose a niche, how to get paid, how to prepare yourself to onboard clients, how to find experienced people to actually deliver the service for you. Basically everything you need to get up and running, but also what mindsets you need to adopt in order to succeed in this game, and how to prepare yourself mentally, how to structure your days, and all of the mindset stuff that is just as important but no one talks about. And after this part, you would have set up the structure you need in order to start signing clients and getting paid. So logically, the second phase is on how to sign clients. And this stage gives you the exact step-by-step action plan to start signing clients, which is where to find potential clients, exactly how to reach out to them, and what to say to open the conversation and get them in a Zoom meeting with you. And then finally, exactly what to say during your meeting in order to get your potential clients to trust you, and as a result, sign them and get them to pay you on the spot. Now, after this stage, finding clients will never be a problem to you ever again, because you would have acquired the skill of attracting people who want to give you money on demand. And finally, our last stage covers how to deliver your service. And in this stage, we go in depth on the best practices of service delivery and teach you step by step how to master the service that I consider to be the most profitable and scalable one: paid ads. After this stage, you'll become a master at getting killer results for your clients through paid advertising, even if you have never run an ad before. And when you apply this knowledge, you'll have a business that will be ready to pay you anywhere from $1,000 a month all the way to $10,000 a month, while providing you with time and location freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, everything you saw is just one of the 3 pillars that Educate is built on. That is the best knowledge available today. And with access to this knowledge, your chances of succeeding are exponentially higher than everyone around you. But as we know, just having the right knowledge is not enough. And I'm not settling with good enough. I want Educate to be nothing less than the cream of the crop of education. We really want to set the bar as to how education should be approached. If you truly want to have a result-driven education, having the right people in your corner is not an option. It is a requirement. And the sad reality of education today is that no one gives a fuck about you. You see, if you go to university, they couldn't care less if you succeed or not. There is a complete indifference from university towards students and the success that they achieve in their careers. I mean, if they did care about their students, they'd have someone checking in on you regularly to see how your progress is, to figure out if you're facing any challenges, and what they can do to help you succeed. That is the bare minimum you should expect when paying upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars for education. But the reality is, whether you succeed or not, both in your professional life and on the university course, they do not care. In fact, they'd probably prefer if you fail the course, so that way you can repeat it and pay tuition for even longer. And if that's the case, even for universities, for alternative education, it's just as bad, if not even worse. And that's why on Educate, we're not satisfied with only providing you with the best result-oriented programs available out there. We want to make sure you have the right people in your corner to provide you with help when you face challenges, which is inevitably going to come up throughout your journey to success. And that's why we've created 2 exclusive ways for you to always have access to the right people. The first one is the Educate coaching calls. We've hired expert coaches for each area of expertise in our programs to host weekly coaching calls for students. And here's how the coaching calls work. Every single week, we have multiple live sessions on sales, service delivery, outreach, mindset, and accountability. And you can jump on these calls, unmute yourself, and ask one of our expert coaches whatever you want. So this way you can get advice literally tailored to your specific challenges and situation. I mean, imagine if you're a beginner remote sales rep and you're struggling closing clients. Being able to ask questions to someone who has sold millions and millions of dollars worth of products online, imagine how useful that would be. Or let's say you're starting your own agency and struggling to manage multiple clients because your business is growing fast. Imagine being able to get advice from someone who runs 3 different agencies with hundreds of clients combined. And that is truly the power of these coaching calls. And here's what happens when you go into these coaching calls, ask good questions, and apply what the expert coaches tell you. You see, you started an ROI agency following what he learned inside of Agency Navigator. And at first, he was struggling to get his first client. Then he jumped on one of our coaching calls and talked to Luis. After applying what Luis had told him to do, he signed his first client at $2,500 a month. And look what happened just 2 days after. He closed another client at $6,000 a month. He went from $0 to $8,500 in a matter of 3 days. And this is just one of hundreds of examples that happen every single day inside of our student community. And what I'm most proud of is that every single one of our coaches have actually gone through our programs as students, just like you, and have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes even millions of dollars, applying what they learned. In fact, I even have student interviews with them from almost 3 years ago posted on my YouTube channel. And here's the one with John Danes, who is now our head of student satisfaction at Educate. Here's the one with John Gabb, who also went through the program and scaled his agency to multiple 5 figures, and now coaches our students on mindset at Educate. Having access to these types of people ready to answer any of your questions and get you unstuck is the difference between people who achieve success and the ones that fall through the cracks along the way. And the coaching calls are not the only way you're going to get access to the right people. On top of that, we have our most insane levels of access to the right people inside of Educate. And that's the dedicated one-on-one coach. You see, when you enroll into Educate, you get attributed a one-on-one coach to literally guide you on your journey to success. These coaches will provide you with the most insane level of mentorship that you can find in any online program. And you're gonna have a kickoff call with your dedicated coach right away when you join the program, followed by a 1-month check-in call, a 3-month check-in call, and a 6-month check-in call to make sure that you are accountable and to keep you on the right track throughout your journey. And let me make something very clear to you. These are not just any coaches. To this day, we've had more than 20,000 people apply to work with us in this specific position, and we have hired less than 15 people. We run this application process almost weekly at this point in order to find the best talent out there. I mean, think about it. It is literally easier to get accepted into Harvard than it is to be accepted as a coach to our students. And that's why we call them the Student Success Concierge. And remember how I told you in episode 3 that with a simple conversation, the right people can save you months of wasted time working on something that would not work out from the get-go. Well, that's exactly what our Student Success Concierges do. But instead of telling you, I'd rather show you. This is a quick clip of a one-on-one coaching call from a student with our coach Maya. Now, this student was about to jump on a niche that would not work for his service, and he probably would have only figured that out on his own after 3 to 4 months of failed effort. Instead, Maya warned him and directed him into the right direction in just a few seconds. Take a look.
A couple of feedback on the ones you've given me so far. E-commerce, I do not recommend you starting with because it is a very difficult one to get in. If you think about it, e-commerce businesses already have to have an audience in order to sell their product. And so why would they need an agency to come in when they've already got that established?
That right there what you just saw saved the students months of running in circles and struggling to get results. And it could look simple on the surface, but such simple things can have a deep impact on your results. And what still blows my mind is jumping on our internal student success calls on Monday. You see, that's when the team actually shouts out the weekly wins from a few of their students. And the results you hear them achieving is just simply insane. Here's actually a snippet of one of these calls, just so you have an idea of what I'm talking about.
So I have my boy Michael, and he has got 6 new clients in the last 2 weeks, and he's currently at 19k in sales in 2 weeks.
Holy, unbelievable.
So we're jumping on a coaching call again. I just want to check back in with him. He's one of these guys that just does exactly what he's told, just executes, and he's a beast. So I'm jumping on call now next week to figure out how we can kind of scale that even more.
Really pay attention to what JT says here about his student who made $19,000 in sales in 2 weeks. He says he's just one of those guys that does exactly what he's told and executes. And the reason why he highlights that is because we know that what we teach you inside of Educate simply works. It has been battle tested with tens of thousands of people. So as long as you execute and do what needs to be done, you are gonna get results, period. And the SSCs are there to push you to do so. That's the power of having access to the right people. Do you really think the colleges have that? Weekly meetings to discuss how their students are performing in their professional lives. I mean, it is almost comical trying to imagine college teachers doing that. There is literally no one on earth that does that and cares so much about their students' success. And that is exactly what you get inside of Educate. And if all of that wasn't enough, we also have a huge student community where you can connect with fellow students who are starting the same journey at the same time as you, as well as more experienced students who have already walked the path that you are gonna walk. The amount of connections you can make inside of it is endless. Today, we live in a world where what used to be the best opportunity 6 months ago might be outdated today. The internet moves very fast, and it's very, very easy to get left behind. And far too often, people get stuck on one specific opportunity and forget to look at all of the other ones available around them. So they spend months of their lives struggling to succeed with something that doesn't work anymore. Then they wonder why they don't succeed despite all of their hard work. It's all about opportunity timing, and that's why I've decided that inside of Educate, we are always going to be bringing you new opportunities. How? Well, every 4 to 6 months, we are going to be dropping a new program inside of Educate, covering what is the hottest opportunity at the time, before everyone knows about them. After all, being first in line comes with its privileges. And with our ever-growing portfolio of programs inside of Educate, you get to be the first in line for the hottest opportunities before everyone else is even aware of them. Whatever the opportunity is, whether that be TikTok, artificial intelligence, or a new type of online business. Whenever I come across new trendy markets, I will get the best person on the topic to record a program for Educate, covering everything you need to know and do in order to succeed with it. And listen, as you can imagine, that with the level of access and influence that I have a lot of new hot opportunities that get to my desk before they even get shared publicly. And as a result, Educate students will get to enjoy the same level of access to these opportunities as well, which for you means that your chances of success are always the highest. And obviously these programs will have the same level of content production and quality to the ones that you just saw. And that's also why Educate will work on a semesterly base. That is, you enroll for 6 months because we truly believe that's all you need to succeed with one opportunity. And then every 6 months, you get new opportunities dropping right inside of the Educate platform. And that is why we're creating a revolution of access. You see, instead of you paying for a program and only getting access to that specific program you paid for, like what happens with colleges, here at Educate, with your enrollment, you get access to everything inside of it. All of the programs, all of the coaching calls, as well as all of the new opportunities. Because we want you to have the highest level of access possible and also allow you to experiment. I mean, let's say you think the best program for you is 6-figure sales rep, but after you start, you kind of decide that you want to transition to an agency. Well, you don't have to buy a new program to do so because you already have access to Agency Navigator. All you gotta do is start watching it. And when you enroll into Educate, all the programs are unlocked for you inside of the platform. And you can watch all of them in any order that you like. but that's also why the only commitment we ask from your end is 6 months. I strongly believe that if you really commit yourself to one of these opportunities, just one of them, your life could be in a completely different place 6 months from now. And we made Educate semesterly based to encourage you to take action during the 6 months, instead of just mindlessly consuming content like the social media network algorithms want you to. So now, my question to you is, can you commit for 6 months to kickstart the life that you've always wanted? With Educate, that's all it takes. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I get access to Educate? So without further ado, today for the first time, I am opening enrollments to Educate. And with your Educate enrollment, you're gonna get access to the 3 programs I mentioned: 6-figure sales rep, pen to profit, and agency navigator, as well as the new courses that drop over time. And on top of that, you're also gonna get access to the right people. That is the one-on-one student success coaches, access to all of our ever-growing catalog of weekly Q&A calls, as well as the student community. As I mentioned, Educate enrollments are going to work on a semesterly base, meaning your enrollment is valid for 6 months, just like what happens with colleges. And after that, if you feel like you've gotten value from everything we offer inside, well, then you can renew your subscription. So the question is, how much is it going to cost for you to enroll into Educate? Now let's make something clear. For any type of degree that provides you with this type of compensation, colleges on average are charging $57,000 a year. And for the 5 years it takes you to graduate, that would equate into $250,000 invested into your education. Now, from the very conception of Educate, our mission was always very clear: to deliver 10 times the impact on your income for 1/100th of the price tag of a regular college education. Now, 1/100th of the price tag of a regular college education, the $285,000 I just mentioned, would equate into $2,850. But to be completely honest, I still don't think that's good enough. Because listen, at the end of the day, I understand that's still out of reach for too many. You know, I can't sit here and say that I'm gonna give access to the world if I'm charging almost $3,000 for this access. Now, Agency Navigator on its own currently sells for $1,500, and we've had over 20,000 students join at this price point. However, for years, I've been receiving messages from people who want to get access to our programs, but still can't afford it at this price point. So I decided that this time around, you're not going to be paying the $1,500 to enroll into Educate. For the launch promotion of Educate, I'm going to give you a $500 discount. When I open enrollments in a second, you're going to be getting this full package for only $995. Educate is officially open. And that's not all you're going to get when you buy today, by the way. 6 months from now, when it comes time for you to renew your subscription, normally you'd be paying $995 again. But when you buy today, your renewal fee 6 months from now will be reduced to only $45 a month. By the way, that's nearly 70% off on your subscription renewal to Educate. So if you want to lock in lifetime access to the best online education platform for as little as $45 a month, make sure to do it now. Now, I have to make it clear here. The regular price of Educate will be $1,500 a semester. And I don't know for how long I'm going to keep this launch offer open. It could be a week, or it could be just a few days. The discounted enrollments may close at any given time with no previous warning. Plus, the earlier you join, the higher are your chances of winning the golden ticket to spend 3 days with me here in my home in Dubai. The giveaway will work on a first come, first served basis. And by the way, once you enroll in the program, you're gonna get all the details about that. Now, I wanna talk about something that's very important to me. And that's that in this moment, you literally have no financial risk when enrolling into Educate today. That's because when you join Educate today, you have 14 days to watch all of the classes available from all of the different programs. And you can jump on the Q&A calls and even have your one-on-one coaching session with your student success coach. And if during these 14 days, for any reason it may be, you think that this is not for you, all you have to do is email support asking for a refund, and we will send you all of your money back as soon as we receive your email. And I really want to make something clear to you. There is no educational company or product on earth that does this. No one. There may be educational products that say, we have a 14-day money-back guarantee, but then they have terms and conditions. So you have to prove that you worked 14 hours a day, every single day for 14 days. And if you can't prove that you worked every single minute, you didn't even go to the restroom, then you're not eligible for a refund. Or they're gonna make your life so difficult to get this refund. Listen, the reason I've gotten to where I am in my career and I've been running successful businesses for 8 years now is because I always do the right thing no matter how bad of a situation that leaves me in. And I'm not stupid. Listen, we've had this refund policy for 2 years now. I'm not dumb. I know that there's a bunch of people that come in and take advantage of it. I know there's a bunch of people that had no interest in ever paying for this. They go through the program and on day 13, they ask for a refund. And by the way, I want to make something very, very clear. We do not ask you why. We will not give you any issues. We will not give you any hassles. We are not allowed to ask a question. It is a no questions asked refund policy. If you ask us, we have to refund. Now, once the money has been sent back, once we've actually refunded, then as a business that's always trying to improve and get better, we'll ask you, out of curiosity, why did you want a refund? Is there anything we could have done better? Just to try to improve and learn. But we will never do that before we send you your money back. First, you get your money back. And then if you want to give us some feedback, obviously we really appreciate that as a business so we can continue to do better. So I want to make that very clear that I'm the only person that is willing to put their neck out on the line for something like this, knowing full well that most people just take advantage of it. I mean, really think about this. Really think that if you went to Nike and you bought a pair of shoes and you wore that shoes 24/7 for 14 days, you went to sleep in those shoes. You extracted as much value as you humanly could out of those shoes. And on day 13, you went back to the Nike store and said, I want my money back. And they couldn't even ask you a question. That is how crazy our refund policy is. That is how ethical, moral. I mean, it's not even ethical, moral. It's on the other side of craziness. And I've been advised for many years to not have a refund policy that is this generous. But the reason I do it is because I am proud of what I have built in my companies and how we constantly show up and build the best products in the market. And I want to show that off. And if you're not happy, I don't want your money. So I really want to make it clear that you are getting access to educate with no commitment for 14 days. As I said, why do I do that? Because I can confidently say that there is no other program out there with the level of content, level of support, level of coaching, and production quality that we have. And I'd rather have you experience all of that firsthand and letting the experience do the talking for me. And if it's not what you expect, that's no problem at all. You just ask for a refund and get all of your money back. It is entirely on me. And that's not all. I told you I was going to make this accessible to the world. And I'm a man of my word. So to make it even more accessible, I have moved mountains to partner with payment providers like Klarna, PayPal Credit, and Afterpay. Now, I want to make something very clear. These solutions may or may not be available in your country, but these services allow you to pay for purchases over a period of time instead of all at once to make your life a little easier. And as long as you don't have a negative credit history, you should be eligible for this. Now, listen, I cannot promise you, but most people usually get approved. And if you do, for the first time ever, you'll have the opportunity to break down the payments into smaller, more manageable chunks. Instead of paying the full amount at once, you can actually opt to make 4 payments of just $250 each to get access to the 6-month subscription to educate. And that means that you can start learning right away for just as low as $250. And that's actually less than $10 a day to get access to the best opportunities to succeed out there, as well as access to the right people and the best knowledge. So when you check out, just select Klarna, PayPal, or Afterpay as your payment method. And you'll be guided to set up an account with them if you don't already have one. I know that a lot of you guys already have accounts with these different payment processors. It's super, super common. I'd say most people who have bought a mattress or a monitor or even a lot of clothing from online decide to break the payments down into more manageable chunks. It's very, very common, and these companies are multi-billion-dollar companies. Now, once set up, you're gonna find out if you're eligible for a payment plan. As I said, you can try both with Klarna and PayPal Credit. And if you're eligible, you can simply choose the 4 installment payment option on checkout. Now, after your first payment of $250, the system will automatically schedule your next 3 payments. And it's that easy. And by the way, the only reason I have suggested this to you is that the best part is that there are no extra fees if you pay in 4 installments. So you're not paying any more than you would if you bought it up front. Again, I don't know for how long this is going to be available, especially if you want to take advantage of the 4 payment plan with Klarna, PayPal, and Afterpay. I mean, bear in mind, this is the first time that we are doing this. So the Educate business accounts on these platforms are brand new. And these platforms are notorious for putting accounts on hold when there's large volumes of sales in a short period of time. As they should be, by the way. These are big, well-established, well-respected companies. And even though we have incredible relationships with our different payment processors that we've used for many years throughout my many different companies, at the end of the day, breaking the payments down, this is our first time using this feature that they've offered us. So the risk of our accounts being put on hold while while my legal team and my CFO and my compliance department sends all of the relevant information to them as to, hey, why is there a big influx of sales on a fresh account that you've never used before? You know, that is a risk. So if you want to break it down into payments and it's available to you, you know, if at the moment you see that the 4 installment payment plan is still live on the page and that's something that interests you, make sure to save your spot right then and there, because a few hours later, it may not be there anymore. So if you want to get access to Educate without having to pay everything up front, now is the time to take action. With $250, you can already have your first step towards a high income future. What we're making here with Educate is real. It's profound. We are really changing the world. And this is how we're going to reform the education system. It's not by waiting for the government or for colleges to do so and complaining that they're not doing enough. We can complain or we can take action. And I have decided to take action. And now it's your turn to make that decision. You see, 7 years ago, I took the decision to renounce on the conventional path when I dropped out of high school, something that my mother had worked her entire life to provide me with. But that is the cost of success. You see, every single big achievement in life comes with a renounce. For me, that was renouncing on everything that my mother had worked for me. For you, it may be renouncing on a pair of shoes or a new phone that you could buy with this $995 instead. Or something as simple as renouncing on being average and striving for something greater. Whatever it is, this renounce has to be made if you want to break through to the next level. It's your turn to take a decision. If you have purposely chose to walk the conventional path and you're aware of where this will lead you, I respect you, because at least you've made a decision. Now, if you didn't really choose that path and you're just walking it because that's the only option you know, right now I'm inviting you to be part of the unconventional, to take the unconventional path and experience unconventional results. And you're the one who will have to take this decision, the decision of becoming the owner of your life. I've given you the opportunity. Now it's time for you to decide if you take it or if you're just gonna stay sitting on the sidelines. And I don't know how much longer you have to take this decision, but whatever your decision is, I truly wish you the best. And hopefully, I see you inside of Educate.